On May 5, 1945, 6 Americans were killed by a Japanese weapon in Oregon. A Sunday school teacher, 5 children, the only civilians killed by enemy action on American soil during World War II. The next day, newspapers reported they died in an explosion of undetermined origin. No mention of Japan, no mention of the 9,000 bombs Japan had launched toward America. The United States government was hiding something. This is the story of Fugo, the world's first intercontinental weapon. The Doolittle Revenge. In April 1942, American B-25 bombers appeared over Tokyo, the Doolittle Raid. The damage was minimal, but the psychological impact was devastating. For the first time, Japan had been attacked on its home soil. Japanese military leaders wanted revenge. They wanted to bomb America, but there was a problem. Japan had no aircraft capable of reaching the American mainland, no bases close enough to launch an attack. So Japanese scientists proposed something radical. If planes could not cross the Pacific, perhaps balloons could. The jet stream. Japanese meteorologist Wasaburo Oishi had discovered something remarkable in the 1920s. High above the Earth, at 30,000 feet, a river of air flows from west to east. Winds reach 200 miles per hour. Today, we call it the jet stream. Oishi realized that a balloon released over Japan could ride this wind across the Pacific, 6,000 miles in just 3 days. No fuel required, no pilot required, just wind. Japanese military scientists ran the calculations. A balloon launched in November could reach North America by December. The jet stream would do the work. If you want to learn more about the weapons that shaped World War II, consider subscribing. We cover the most devastating weapons of the Axis powers every week. The paper weapon. The Fugo balloon was an engineering marvel built from the simplest materials. The envelope was made from washi. Washi is traditional Japanese paper, derived from the bark of the mulberry tree. 4 to 5 thin layers were glued together with konnyaku paste. Konnyaku is a vegetable paste made from Japanese potatoes. When finished, the balloon measured 33 feet in diameter and held 19,000 cubic feet of hydrogen. The Japanese planned to build 10,000 of them. But rubber was scarce in wartime Japan. Only 300 balloons could be made from rubberized silk. The rest would be paper. The military mobilized thousands of teenage girls from high schools across Japan. They worked in darkened warehouses, theaters, and sumo wrestling halls, assembling paper panels with their small hands. They glued the panels together with konnyaku paste. The paste was edible, and in starving wartime Japan, that was a problem. The girls did not know what they were building. They were told it was for the war effort and nothing more. The altitude problem. Getting a balloon to cross the Pacific was only half the challenge. The balloon had to maintain altitude for 70 hours. During the day, sunlight heated the hydrogen and the balloon rose. At night, the gas cooled and the balloon descended. Japanese engineers designed an automatic altitude control system. When the balloon dropped below 30,000 feet, a barometer triggered a release mechanism, and a sandbag dropped. The balloon rose again. Each balloon carried 32 sandbags, enough for the entire crossing. When all the sandbags were gone, the balloon should be over North America. Then the weapons would drop. Each balloon carried 5 bombs, 1 33-pound anti-personnel explosive, and 4 incendiary devices designed to start forest fires. After releasing its payload, a small charge was supposed to destroy the balloon, leaving no evidence. On November 3, 1944, the first armed Fugo balloons rose into the sky. The date was chosen deliberately. It was the birthday of Emperor Meiji. From 3 launch sites along Japan's Pacific coast, balloons drifted upward. Each took 30 minutes to an hour to prepare. They required 30 men to launch. They could only fly under specific wind conditions. Over the following months, Japan launched approximately 9,300 balloons. Roughly 1,000 are believed to have reached North America. The rest fell into the Pacific. On November 4, 1944, the US Navy recovered a deflated balloon near the California coast. That was the first evidence of the Japanese program. In December, more balloons appeared. There was an explosion near Thermopolis, Wyoming. A balloon was found in Montana. More were found in Alaska, Oregon, and California. At first, American officials could not believe the balloons had come from Japan. Some theorized they were launched from German prisoner of war camps. Others suspected Japanese American internment centers. Then, geologists analyzed the sand in the ballast bags. The minerals matched beaches in Japan. The balloons had crossed the Pacific. American military leaders faced a decision. What should they tell the public? On January 4, 1945, the Office of Censorship sent a confidential memo to every newspaper and radio station in America. Do not report on balloon incidents. Do not mention Japan. Do not cause panic. The media complied completely. Not a single American newspaper published a story about the balloon bombs after that date. The silence was remarkable in a country that prized freedom of the press. And it worked. Japanese intelligence monitored American radio broadcasts for any mention of their weapon. They heard nothing. The Japanese military concluded that the Fugo program had failed. They concluded the balloons were falling into the ocean. In February 1945, Japanese propaganda claimed 500 casualties from balloon bombs. They were lying. They had no idea if any balloons had even arrived. The censorship nearly caused catastrophe. On March 10, 1945, a balloon bomb drifted over Washington state. It struck a high-tension power line near Toppenish. The line fed electricity to a facility called Hanford Engineer Works. Hanford was producing plutonium for the Manhattan Project, for the atomic bomb. The balloon caused a short circuit. Power to Hanford went dead. Backup systems restored electricity, but the plutonium-producing reactors took 3 days to return to full capacity. A paper balloon made by Japanese schoolgirls nearly delayed the atomic bomb. Nobody was told. By May 1945, Japan had stopped launching balloons. Resources were exhausted. The kozo trees used for washi paper were nearly gone. American B-29s had bombed Japan's hydrogen production plants, but hundreds of unexploded balloons still lay scattered across the American wilderness. On May 5, 1945, a balloon bomb exploded near Bly, Oregon. It killed 6 people. They were Elsie Mitchell, age 26, a Sunday school teacher who was 5 months pregnant; Sherman Shoemaker, age 11; Jay Gifford, age 13; Edward Engen, age 13; Joan Patsky, age 13; and Dick Patsky, age 14. They had been on a church picnic. They found the balloon in the forest. They did not know what it was. The public had never been warned. They were the only Americans killed by enemy action on the continental United States during World War II. 3 weeks later, the War Department finally broke its silence. On May 22, 1945, officials announced that Japan had launched balloon bombs. They warned Americans to report any strange balloons they encountered. But by then, Germany had surrendered. Victory in Europe dominated the headlines. The balloon bomb story disappeared. Most Americans never heard about it. Japanese officers learned the truth only after the war. They told American interrogators that they had abandoned the program because they heard no news of success. The censorship had worked, but it had also kept Americans ignorant of the danger. If the public had been warned, perhaps 6 people in Oregon would still be alive. the legacy. The Fugo balloon was the first weapon system with intercontinental range. It predated intercontinental ballistic missiles by more than a decade. A paper balloon built by schoolgirls crossed 6,000 miles of ocean, carrying bombs from one continent to another. Japan launched 9,300 of them. Only about 300 were ever found. The rest presumably fell into the Pacific, or they are still out there. As recently as 2014, a balloon was discovered in Canada, still functional, potentially still dangerous. If you live in the Pacific Northwest and find strange debris in the forest, do not touch it. It might be 80 years old. It might still explode. Today, a stone monument stands in the Fremont-Winema National Forest, near the town of Bly, Oregon. It marks the spot where Elsie Mitchell and 5 children died. It is the only place on American soil where civilians were killed by enemy action during the entire war. A Sunday school teacher, 5 children, and a secret that the United States government tried to hide. That was Japanese engineering,